We're rolling. Hello, 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 Christmas Flixers. Welcome back to Chicks on Christmas Flicks, where we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have not enough Christmas movies. I'm Kale Brady, and I am so excited today. We are doing, we, as in me, and Brittney from Hallmark Enthusiast 247, we are doing the season 3 wrap up show where we're giving our top 12 favorites for the year. Favorites out of the ones we out of the ones we actually got a chance to watch. So I am so excited to have Brittney on the show. Brittney, say hello and introduce yourself to those who may be listening for the first time and don't know who you are.
Thanks for having me, Carla. Like you said, my handle is at Hallmark Enthusiast 247 on Instagram, and Twitter is Pink Sunset XO. And like Carla, I'm an avid Christmas movie lover, so I've been lucky enough to have be on her show, and she's invited me. And I love Hallmark. I watch it all year long, especially the Christmas movies, and it's my favorite thing. I'm a huge enthusiast, so that's pretty much what my page is all about. Just the DVDs, movies, all the upcoming premieres, and I'm just a fellow lover, so it's real fun to talk about these Christmas movies and be here. So thank you for having me again for our fifth time. I appreciate it.
I know. I'm so excited to have you back on the show. And I know. Okay, so for those of you who have not listened to our previous broadcast, so our typical rules for our list are one that we don't share them. So I don't know what's on Brittany's list. Brittany does not know what's on my list. Two is that we focus on uh, any network, right? We could pick our favorites from any network that or streamer that shows Christmas movies. So I do. What is it? I think that's it. That's it for our big rules, right, Brittany?
Pretty
um,
much, yeah.
yeah, those are the big ones. I mean, we don't have a lot of rules, but we don't share. We don't share our list with each other, and we can pick any Christmas movie. We focus on the romantic Christmas movies, but we can pick any Christmas movie from any stream or network that we so choose as part of our list. So I am excited to. But before we get started with our list, I just wanted to ask you because I feel like I have some firm thoughts about your overall impression of the 2022 season. Well, like, what are your thoughts about the season? How did you feel, kind of like when it ended?
Well, of course, for one, I was sad, obviously, because it goes so darn quick. But overall, I kind of felt like, in comparison, this year I felt like it was so awesome with all the diversity. It felt like they kind of broke some more barriers in the sense that, like, we had way more, like, different kind of storylines. I mean, it still followed, the romance, but it was a different way of doing it. We had more inclusion, we had more diversity, but like there were storylines we've never had before, and so I loved it because it wasn't the same cookie cutter. We love the same cookie cutter, but a different way of
Mhm.
getting there was still really fun. So I love a lot of movies every year, but I felt for me this year I was more wowed, and it was more, just a bigger, broader um, group of movies this year. So I was really impressed, and I was really sad, but it was really awesome actually. How did you feel about it?
I gotta tell you, one thing I walked away from this season with is that Hallmark is just getting better and better and better.
Yeah,
To me, every year they step it up. You know, I can't say that about any other network like I can say it about Hallmark. Is that they have truly stepped, and it's like every movie just gets better and better. A lot more diversity, a lot more, like you say, no cookie cutter movies for them, which which I love. Like, I love that they tell the I love the cookie cutter stories, but then I love the direction that they're going with some of the the outside of the box stories. You know what I mean? So it
Exactly.
all of it and they kind of, intermingled all of it together so that you didn't know exactly what you were going to get from movie to movie. So for me, it was exciting. Like I said, um, in terms of the Christmas movie game, like I don't know, like I feel like Hallmark's number one right now, and then like you can juggle the two, three, four, five, six, going on through there, but they're number one across, between Hallmark and Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Like I feel like they really outdid themselves this season. So I was really sad that sad that the season ended. But what I will also say is that I have so many movies that I will have left to watch. I honestly, my work schedule was a little insane. And I watched a lot of movies, but I still did not. I only got a fraction of the movie. Like I only got to see like a fraction of the ones that were out there, and that was me like really trying to watch more. But I think that just reflects kind of the amount of content out there now. It's so much more than it was 2, 3, 4 years ago. It's amazing how much more content is being made out. I mean, when QVC has a Christmas movie and HGTV has Christmas
Right.
movies, I mean, come on, man. I'm like, what's going on? Everybody's
I
in the
know
game.
it's always interesting to see like who's gonna jump the game next year. We're gonna get all the networks. I mean, like you said, the Discovery Plus with the HGTV and the Food Network, those were fun, and so
Yeah,
I'm really excited for next year to see if we can get. I mean, VH1 now it's just crazy how much it's blown up ever since Hallmark and Lifetime, because Lifetime was a long time. Those two have been going
yeah.
for a while, so I'm really excited to see what comes this coming up year. It'll be interesting.
It will be so interesting to see. And just so much more content, so many more places. And that's why it's so hard to keep up. But we did manage to come up with our list of our top 12 favorite movies for the 2022 season. And so it's time to get into it. So let's roll. So
Woo!
let's start with number 12. So I will let you go first, Brittany, and then I will follow. So what was your number 12 movie on your top 12?
Oh, okay. Thank you. My number 12 was from Lifetime, and it is Kirk Franklin's The Night Before Christmas, and I hope I don't pronounce this wrong, but starring Naturi Naughton and Luke James. And before I start, tons of these movies could have made it on here, but I was just trying to kind of weed it out. But I don't know. For me, like, it wasn't necessarily like that a lot happened in the movie. They were stuck. For all of you who have seen it, obviously they were stuck in this church. They were trying to go home in a snowstorm, and they got stuck with everyone, that was stuck there. But it just felt like it was so full of life, even though like not that much had happened. Like, there was a conflict of interest between the mom and daughter's relationship. They kind of weren't seeing eye to eye and stuff like that. And then Luke James, is the pastor, and he played a really good one. And I loved in the kitchen, the people that were cooking, they were just dancing and making the food. And even though not a lot happened in the sense of like 99% of the movie took place in the church, it
Yep.
just like I wasn't bored. And normally you would think like if it's just at the church, that sounds really boring, but everyone just had really good chemistry. It flowed really well, and I didn't turn it off. I wasn't bored, and so I really loved it. I loved the music. Everyone singing was really nice, and it was an overall good movie. It was just, I've watched it again, and it was just really uplifting, and I loved how they resolved, and seeing that, despite our differences, love and our parents and our loved ones are most important. We can set aside that kind of stuff, and we love each other. And so I love that was the message of the movie.
Yeah, no, that was a great, great, great message and a great, great movie. So my number 12 is Designing Christmas, which was on Discovery Plus.
Yeah.
It starred Jessica Zor. I want to say Azor, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's right.
but she was in Lucky in Love on Hallmark as like a regular rom com, right? And then she starred with Marco Grazzini, who recently starred in Right in Front of Me on Hallmark, and then Christmas on Unwrapped. I remember that from Lifetime that he
Oh
did.
yeah.
And then Hilary Farr was in this. Now I know her from Love It or List It. Um, I'm a huge fan of that show. So when she was in it, is really kind of what drove me to actually watch the movie. Her and Jessica, because I hadn't seen Jessica in a while. But I really enjoyed this movie. It shocked me that I enjoyed it as much as I did. I will say that because I was really like, it's a Discovery Plus. They're just kind of coming out the box. This is their first year, and normally people don't. When you're new into the market, like your first Christmas movies are not always the best, right? But I literally watched this twice in a row. I really loved it. So it basically centered around Jessica and Marco, right? Their characters. Um, and they're Fix It. They have a Fix It show, like a reality Fix It show. And then it ultimately what happens is they end up having to like fix up the house that Jessica is going to live in with her fiance or soon to be husband, right? But during this show, uh you know they start to wonder, Jessica and Marco start to wonder, about their feelings for each other, and so things kind of take a little left turn off of the plans. So and the feelings that kind of surface are kind of a surprise to everybody. So I really enjoyed it. I loved that it really felt like an HGTV show, and that we were actually getting to watch a romance in a real show. That's that's what I took, and that's why I watched it twice. Like, and I rarely do that. So I knew I liked it because I watched it twice. But I'm also an HGTV show junkie. Like I DIY. I love DIY home shows and stuff like that. So it doesn't surprise me that I like the content. But I really thought this was well done because it really did feel like you're watching a romance in a show. So I
Yeah,
was
that's
excited.
really impressive. Like when we have like we were talking about, we don't have a lot of time with our, regular life and all these movies. So that really goes to show you it's a really good movie when you actually watch it twice instead of
Yep.
watching, another movie. And I
Yep.
love that because HGTV and Food Network, they had like Ben and Arian Napier, in the other movies. So it's kind of fun seeing the people we watch regularly on the other shows come into
Yeah.
the world of, the love movies on top of, like you said, regular house renovation and all that kind of stuff. And it was a really good movie. That was close to being on my list too.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to number 11. What's your number 11 show?
Alrighty, my number 11 was on Hallmark, and it's The Gift of Peace with Brennan Elliott, Nikki DeLoach, and Cardi Wong, and a few other people. Obviously, Brennan Elliott and Nikki DeLoach together is going to be a hit. I lost my grandma 8 years ago, this coming up Christmas, to colon cancer. So it was kind of really emotional for me, and it struck a chord because I went through everything they went through, and I love that they kind of showed the stages of grief because when you lose someone, everyone you can empathize with people, and of course you know how horrible it is, but like when you go through it, it's a different kind of connotation to it. So they did it really beautifully. I mean, it was really sweet how they came together, and some of them, they couldn't even talk about it, but then the stages of them opening up, like towards the end, they started talking about it. And then my favorite part of the message was like, she didn't want to move, Nikki DeLoach's character, she didn't want to move on from her life because she felt she was like forgetting her husband that she lost and like letting go of him. But they were like, no, like he's always a part of you. and her husband before he passed said like, I don't want you to stop living. And so that kind of came to her, and she's like, okay, I can move forward. And Cardi Wong's character, Cardi B Wong, him and his dad wouldn't talk because he wanted to be baking, and he didn't think it was good enough or something. And she sent him a box of the sweets, and he came to apologize. So I just love that kind of relationship where they resolve things, and like they realize they're being kind of silly, and they come together. And also, I just have to say, Hallmark, Cardi B Wong needs a lead in a movie. I mean, every time he's a secondary character, I just love him. But I just love the way they did it. And it kind of had a little more faith in it than normal, which if everyone loves, that's fine too. But I just loved. It was really like smooth how they did it. They didn't like shove it down people's throat. It was just an overall touching, loving movie that was really, really sweet. And I came to it because, like I said, I lost my grandma, so it was just really, well done, I feel. And I've watched it a couple times too, so. But that was hard. It probably would have been bumped up, but it was one of my number 11.
That, honestly, I did not watch that movie for the reason that you watched.
Yeah. I know, it was hard. I didn't want to, but I did.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be too hard for me, especially with my mom's passing and stuff. So I was like, nope, I can't do it. Nope, I'll be here sobbing, and I don't want to sob.
I know,
but
I was a mess.
I want to watch it, but I gotta be in the right mindset.
Yeah, the right headspace. Yeah, I hear you.
The one that's on 11 on my list was not easy, actually, and it was harder than I thought it was going to be. This is We Need a Little Christmas on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
I love that one.
It was so good. So it starred Lynn Whitfield, Erica Durant, and Patrick Sabongui, right? So basically, Erica plays this single mother, right? And she and her son developed this close friendship with their next door neighbor, who is an older woman, right? And all of them are kind of dealing with loss in different ways and different stages. And the older neighbor, who's kind of wise and everything, like she kind of, I think, helps them learn to deal with the loss a little better than they had been. Maybe face the loss and also deal with it a little better, and know that there's something good on the other side of it. And then also you have Patrick Sabongui's character, who also kind of pitches in there and offers another kind of romantic slant to the story. So I really loved this movie. I did not think I was gonna love it as much. I said I'm gonna give it 15 minutes, and if I'm not in love with it after 15 minutes, I'm gonna turn it off and look at something else. I finished it, and I watched it again later on in the season. Like, it was so good.
And it was the first Hallmark Movies and Mysteries movie too, so they really kicked it off with that being the first one.
But remember how it used to be with Hallmark, where you would see the so-so movies early, and then they would get really good.
Yeah, they would work up to the really good ones. Yeah.
Now they kick off with really good movies. It's amazing. So yeah, that was like the first one, but it was a good one, and I liked it all the way through. It stayed high on my list all the way through the season, which says a lot. All right, number 10. What's your number 10 movie?
All right, my number 10 is from Lifetime and is Reindeer Games Homecoming with Sarah Drew, Justin Bruning, and Brian Sills. And I can't get enough of this movie. I actually did watch it twice. I loved the fact that, like, it was another movie full of loss. She lost her dad, and he had a huge presence in the community with the fire crew and everyone in there. And he had his friends he would hang out with, and she was, she grew up with them as kind of like second dads, I guess you could say. And she's still friends with them. And Justin Bruning, he's this big Hollywood movie star coming back, and she had a crush on him, and he called her that fun little nickname, and so they kind of were going back and forth with it. And I love Brian Still's character, the best friend, and he was hysterical in the movie. I really loved too at the end. It made me cry a mess. The note from her dad, kind of the same thing as what I said from the last one. Like, I know you're really upset that I'm gone, but you have to live your life. And oh my goodness, and also the scavenger hunts. That was so cute. He set up that scavenger hunt. Like, that was just adorable. I can't say enough about that. And so it was just so good. I mean, I felt Lifetime, they do good movies and stuff, but like this one just kind of felt like it was a Lifetime movie, but wasn't. It was just kind of like a smooth, crisp, like Christmas movie. It was, like kind of like the old days, kind of, sort of. And I love the reindeer games. That was so silly, when they were running in the water. And and then the funny part too was when Justin Bruning's sister was giving birth, her son, who was like in high school, had to drive, and they were all freaking out in the car trying to get to the hospital. And she was like, "No, pay your attention to the road. Don't look back here." And it was laughs. It was emotional. It was serious. It had all the recipe of like, you're crying, you were laughing, you were learning something, you were in awe, you were saying, "Oh, this is so cute." Like, I just loved it. It was an all around, like, everything you could ask for in a Christmas movie. It was just so good. And I love Sarah Drew. I mean, she's adorable. Her and Twinkle All the Way, Christmas in Vienna. It's just like, I love her. So I'm glad that they brought her back again for another movie.
I hate that is not on my list. It should be.
I know.
That makes me mad.
Good. I know. That always happens. You and me read our list, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I forget? You say one, and I'm like, how did I forget that? How is that even possible?
That should be on my list, and I don't have it on my list. But that should be on my list. Oh my gosh, because I love that movie. And I have to tell you, like, the first time I watched it, I don't know if I was tired or what, but at the first time I was like, meh. But I watched it again, and I was like, oh my God, what was wrong with me the last time I watched it? This is so good.
And that happens. We get tired, so you're just putting on background noise, you're not really paying attention, and then you're like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah, that happened to me a couple times this season, but that was one of the movies and then I ended up probably watching about 3 times, and I was like, oh my God, every time I watched it, I liked it better and better and better. But anyway,
what's your number 10?
my number 10 is Hanukkah on Rye. Hallmark movie with Yael Groblas, Jeremy Jordan, and Linda Darlow. So I really love this movie. To me, this is one of the more layered stories. It's like layers on layers and layers of story. And it was really hard for me to distill like what was the true plot of it, because there's multiple plots, right? Multiple stories. But at the end of the day, you have these grandkids of owners of Jewish delis, and they learn that they're going to end up competing against one another on a business level, but they get to know each other on a personal level and develop this relationship, and it's kind of enemies to lovers. It starts.
Which a lot are.
Kind of starts out rough, and then kind of smooths out eventually. But I really loved this movie. It to me was such a feel-good movie. What I loved about the movie is the matchmaker part of it, right? So they, in one way they know each other, the other way they don't know each other, but there's a matchmaker involved and there's letter writing involved. And to me, like, the letter writing piece is so old school, but I really love how they developed that part of the story and all of that. So I think that's what drew me in really to like that story. But I think I probably watched this movie about 4 times. I had to put it
I
on
know,
my
me
list
too.
based on the number of times that I watched it. It was so good. So, and every time I watched it, I felt like I saw something I didn't see previously because it's such a layered story. So, I love this.
Exactly.
Absolutely
And they
loved
had
it.
Paula Shaw too. I love her. One of the grandmas, his
Yes.
grandma.
Oh
I
my
love her.
goodness. Both of the grandmas were
And
awesome,
and
right?
Linda Darlow, yeah. And I love
Yes.
Paula Shaw, Picture Perfect Christmas. I mean, and then she
Yes.
was in a Mrs. Miracle Christmas last year.
Yes.
Well, technically
Absolutely.
2 years ago now that we're in 2023, but I just love her, and it was so darn funny when they were sitting at the matchmaker's office trying to get a refund
Yes.
because it didn't work out, and they were
Yes.
talking, and then that moment they realized they were the grandmothers of the two of
Yes.
them. Paula
Yes.
Shaw gave the most dirtiest look and turned her head,
Right.
and she was like, "We're going head to head, ladies," and it's just so funny.
That was so funny and so good. Like so good. So I love that one. So yes, Hanukkah on Rye was my number 10. All right, number 9. What do you have for your number 9?
Alrighty, my number 9 is from Hallmark, and it's A Big Fat Family Christmas
Oh, that was
with
so good
Shannon
too.
Chan Kent, Shannon Kutia Carrera, and Jack Wagner. I hope I pronounced those right. I just loved this movie. Like, I always love representation, because I always feel like everyone deserves to see themselves in a movie. But
Mhm.
it just felt like a loving family movie. Like, you couldn't help but smile. Like, there was so much like family togetherness. There was so like, and I love the story where I love the lead guy. He was so awesome. Like, when she was trying to teach it, like, be on the download that she wasn't a part of the family. Like, he was a good writer. I loved his accent. Like, I felt like they pitter patter back and forth really well. And I love the mom and the brother. Like, he was
Yes.
hysterical. I hope Hallmark brings him back for more movies. But I just love, like, that they showed, the importance of family, because she said she was embarrassed, like, because they're
Yep.
always over the top. And I kind of
Yes.
felt like that was kind of how I am, because, like, I'm always over the top with Christmas. But, like,
Yeah.
that's their thing. And that's kind of, and at the end of the movie, she kind of realized, like, hey, like, even though they're embarrassing, like, I've had so many good childhood memories because of that. And so, and
Yep.
I love that, like, my heart sunk when they lost the donations
The
for
money.
all that.
Yes.
I was like, please, Hallmark, like, please get them back
Something again.
somehow. Like, we can't have
Yes.
these missed.
Yes.
But they did, and I just loved it. It also showed, the goodness and humanity. The girls, they found it, and they knew because of the red envelopes that it was the families, and they brought it back when they already raised more money also.
Yeah.
So I just love that, and I love the dad in the movie. They were including the lead guy and all the celebrations, all the things they were doing, and I just couldn't get over the brother. He was so hysterical. The brother sister relationship, and it was just it just made you happy. It was an overall good, movie of family, friends, food, and I love seeing all their culture and all the different things they did and the traditions and learning about that, but not, having it shoved down your throat in some movie, kind of like teaching you, but making you feel kind of like not stupid, but like it's kind of like a history lesson, but it was like it
Yes.
flowed really good. And it was fun when she was hanging off the trolley, and he's like, when they lost it, and
Yes.
like, all right, you two, you're getting
So
kicked off at the next stop. And it was just really fun. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was a really good family, and I really hope they do more of the representation this coming up year. And I just love the Chinese family. They were hysterical.
they were hilarious. I loved, loved, loved that movie. Also should be on my list, but it is.
Right? I don't know, one of those.
I need like 20 slots to put all the movies in here. And
I know, we can't do that many, and it's so hard.
I know, like a couple. I have a couple ties even, and it was tough even putting these on. But yes, I loved that movie. Loved it. Okay, so my number 9 is Kirk Franklin's The Night Before Christmas.
Oh.
So that's one that we have the same. It's on our top 12. Honestly, these movies they don't have to be in this order. Like you could switch the order
Yeah,
up.
you could put
They
them
all
any
should be
order.
on the list, but the order is like this very could have easily fallen further down and something else moved up. But Brittany already talked about Kirk Franklin's The Night Before Christmas, and I loved it for many of the same reasons. I love the music. I was scared, honestly. I did not watch it right away because I was so scared that they were not going to be able to, Kirk was not going to be able to pull the movie off 2 years in a row because the last one, the Gospel Christmas,
Yeah, the
was
gospel
so
one.
good.
Oh, so good.
I thought, oh gosh, if this is a downer, I'll be so mad. But it was
Right.
so good. So
And it,
I
just at a church. I couldn't imagine just at a church all that could be good and just in church.
It was, and it was so good, and it was still had a few layers to the story, in that one location, and the music was good, and the acting was good. I mean, I just love the stories, and I love that dynamic between the parent and the kid, and how that all worked out. So yes, so number 9 was Kirk Franklin's The Night Before Christmas. All right, number 8. What is your number 8 movie?
Okay, well, I'm keeping it with the same with the Chinese culture. My number 8 is Hallmark. It's Christmas at the Golden Dragon with Kara Wang, Osric Chow, Sarah Canning, Antonio Cupo, and Barbara Niven. And this one was close to being a tie, but I was like, no, I'm gonna put it in the right, in their spots. I love this one pretty much for the same reason I loved The Big Fat Family Christmas. Like, just the family aspect. Like, the kid, the daughter, she was kind of trying to branch out and start her own life away from the restaurant because that's kind of all they knew as kids. And she, with her boyfriend, she wanted to see, she dreamed up in her head what like a regular Christmas would look like, not being at the restaurant, like, all the food, the decorations, the fun stuff you can do. And so it was kind of funny when, like, I mean, I felt bad for her, but it's kind of funny when it was like all the things she thought were a certain way were going wrong, everything was falling over and stuff like that. But I just love the same aspect of the other movie. Like, at the end of the day, they all came together. The parents gave everything to that restaurant. And I really love seeing the different type of like storylines, like Antonio Cupo and Sarah Canning. And like, it was so sweet to see how many lives this restaurant has touched, like throughout the whole years. Like, it's a second home for all these people. And so when it was closing, I was just like, I was sad. I was like, why is this closing and stuff? So the only thing, if I had to critique it, like most Hallmark movies, it's always like a happy ending. And it was still a happy ending, but like if I had to critique it, I was kind of bummed they didn't take over the family restaurant. I mean, I see why sort of like they did it, and I see how it ended, but I'm like, why would they not take it over? Especially since the son wanted to be a cook. He loved cooking.
I agree.
So I thought that was kind of, I don't know. But I just loved it. I mean,
I loved it, but that's probably why it didn't fall on my list, because I didn't have that end of the movie, that normal
and it kind of threw it off.
That I normally have. You know what I mean? That little boost
exactly,
that I normally have.
But I love, though, like, and kind of with the same movie, she was kind of not necessarily embarrassed by her parents, but kind of. But I love how, like, when she found out they were closing for Christmas, because some people go to Chinese restaurants on Christmas, and so when she found out they were closing, she was like, she left her boyfriend's family, and she was like, no, like, this is a second place for people on Christmas. We have to come together. So I love that, all the workers, all the people put together, this place that meant the world to them, they all put together aside their Christmas to come help give one last like hoorah to the restaurant. So I really love that the community came together, and I love when that happens. So, but yeah, the restaurant, them not taking it over, especially because the son was an aspiring chef, that kind of threw it off for me. But I still really loved it. I mean, a Big Fat Family Christmas and that one kind of were the same, different ways of getting there, but it was the same concept kind of. So of course those were going to be close together.
Yeah, I loved it too. I really did love that movie. Like I love so many, honestly. Like I loved
I
about
know,
50
right?
movies, right? So putting 12
I
putting
know, but
12
them not taking over the restaurant was kind of
yeah.
the. So I guess
Yeah.
that could have been number 9, and the other one been 8. But that's okay.
Yeah. Like you said, they all belong on the top. It's just where they fall.
Exactly.
You know, you kind of got to rack and stack them how you feel at the moment. So my number 8 is The Christmas Spark on Lifetime with Jane Seymour and Joe Lando. And this was a Dr. Quinn medicine woman reunion between Jane Seymour and Joe Lando. Now I didn't
So
really
good.
watch that. I watched it a few times, but I didn't like watch it religiously. Um, but what I can say about this, the Christmas Spark, is this: the chemistry between Jane Seymour and Joe Lando was off the charts for just about any Christmas movie I've ever seen, ever. Like the chemistry was amazing, and to me that their relationship and watching them interact with each other was like the joy of watching this movie for me. It was so good. I like the idea of her being widowed, right? And I mean, not her being widowed. I don't like that, right? But I like that she's like trying to figure out what, like her next step in life is gonna be. She goes to visit the kids, and then she signs up to direct this, this Christmas pageant, and then she ends up meeting the guy, right? And then she and the guy kind of have this interaction. And I am telling you, it was just like somebody lit a flame between them every time they were on screen together. It was just amazing. And both of them look amazing. And I think Jane is like 70s. She's like 71 or 70 years old. Yeah, she's like, and, but to see them be that age in a Christmas movie, having that kind of chemistry, having that kind of, starting over again, building their relationship. Like, to me, it was just amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing to watch. It was amazing to kind of just watch the relationship build and to see how they interacted and how eventually you knew one of them was kind of gonna pull back and to see the kind of pull back and the pull forward. I loved it. I really loved that one. Kept me going, and that was another one I watched probably more times than I should, but it was so good. I think I even had it on my DVR for a little while, but I don't have so much room, so I deleted it for something else. But I loved it. It
No,
was
it
good.
was so good, and what I have to give Lifetime is they go off the nostalgia. Like they know that if you pair up somebody from that the old show, people are gonna come because it's a reunion. Like a few years ago, they did the One Tree Hill with the Christmas contract.
Yep.
Everybody was in that, and so I love that about Lifetime. They always do some type of nostalgia movie, and they know they're gonna get the views just because people,
Yep.
they want to see them together on screen again.
Yep.
So I love that.
Yep. I love that. I love that too. Yep. That was so good. So anyway, number 8, The Christmas Spark. Okay. So what is your number 7 movie?
Alrighty, this is where it got a little more tricky and harder as I went closer to number 1. My number 7 is Hallmark, and it's Time for Him to Come Home for Christmas with Tyler Hynes and Holland Roden. And I really like this movie because this was Tyler Hynes' first movie being on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. All his other movies were on Hallmark Channel, so his movies tend to be more, upbeat and fun, which is great. But I kind of like seeing him in a more of a kind of a Sweet Carolina role, just kind of more not mellow, but just more serious kind of. I love him in anything, of course. The Heinies, we all love him, but
Right.
it was just really good. I love seeing them come together to try and find the missing person with the phone call, and there was a lot of I don't know how you feel, but my worst trope for these movies is like when they mishear a conversation and they jump to conclusions, and I can't stand that, because it's like,
Yes.
ask them, just straight up ask them, like, hey, is this what's really going on? So they kind of had that in there, and then they had, but like, I gotta say, not only was it, of course, Tyler Hines, but like all these people that like I follow, this kiss at the end was like everybody's like most steamy kiss in like all of Christmas movie history, I guess. Like,
Really?
it was, yeah, like it was so passionate, like it was like getting voted on for weeks, and so I just had to throw that in there. But I know, and I'm like,
yet. Now I'm going to see
oh,
that.
you haven't seen it? Oh, girl, it's good. No, but it was just a good movie. I mean, I swear, anything Tyler does, I mean, he could literally recite the ABCs and I would be interested. I mean, he's so good. But like, I just love them together. I just felt like, you know, you could tell like they really loved each other, but they were too stubborn to admit it. They just kind of had this like pitter patter to where like they were frustrated, but then they realized they loved each other, and the ending was just so good. And but I mean, at times I was confused, but at the end it kind of came together once, you know, you've seen all the plot twists and all that kind of stuff. But it was just good, and I love that they picked him for the 5th movie. So I mean, anything he does is good, but I really enjoyed it, and it could have been further on my list, but there were so many good ones this year that it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah,
but you gotta watch it.
I am going to
when you
watch
get a second.
I am either gonna, you know, even if I have to rent it, if I can try and rent it, or if I have to buy it. Like, there's a list of
actually
movies that
it's coming on at the end of the month, on, you know how they do the Thursday Christmas movies.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's I just looked on the website and it's on, I think this coming up Thursday is when it's on. So re-record it if you can.
I will be watching that. I will absolutely be watching it, because I was like, well, I can't catch it like during the season, but yeah. No, I will record it now. Now that I've gotten my I've emptied some stuff off my DVR. Like, I can add some stuff now.
I know.
So, yeah.
I'm lucky enough. I paid extra for unlimited during this time just because I can't. It's so hard. Oh, and I just looked it up. It is January 26th. This coming up Thursday, it'll be on. So yeah. So for anyone that missed it, make sure you get on if you haven't seen it, or you just loved it and wanted to see it again. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. And see, here's the thing. Now, this is funny. I was going to upgrade, because, you know, I'm with Verizon Fios, and I have to have my box for so long that I have to upgrade. In order to get unlimited storage for DVR, I have to upgrade my box. Well, for them to do that, instead of just being able to send me the box and I just replace the box, they actually have to have people come in and do rewiring. And yeah, I'm like, no, I'm just, you know, I just was like, no, that's just too much trouble to go. So
and that's stinky, because during Christmas we need unlimited, and I have Friendly TV, but I also have Direct TV Stream, and luckily for me, I pay a certain amount, and then it's $10 extra to do unlimited DVR. Which, I mean, for $10 during Christmas, of course, you know.
Yeah.
But you think they would make that easier for, like, that, yours, you know?
Thank you. This is what I said. I'm like, I've been, you know, a customer for like 10 years, and I've got to go through rewiring to get a bigger...
Right, come on now.
Come on. Yep, but that's the reason I haven't done it. So, But anyway, I know I need it, so we'll see. I'm going to have to work something out. Anyway,
how can you choose between all these movies to put on your DVR? That's not right.
It's so hard. Anyway, my number 7 is All I Didn't Want for Christmas. It was a VH1 movie with Gabri Sidibe, Loretta Devine, Andrew Bushell, and Kel Mitchell of I think Kenan and Kel fame, right? He used to be on that Nickelodeon show with Kenan and Kel. All I Didn't Want for Christmas, I have to say, this movie was one of those, like you said, it's like all the emotions. It was funny, it was sad, it was, you know, it was all the things in between. it was family, it was romance, it just had everything. And it was like Christmas, but it was like anti-Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
It was like everything wrapped up into one big Christmas bow. So basically what this movie was about was it's about this girl, Emily, and she's a podcaster, and she's, brilliant and funny and all of this kind of stuff. But she's kind of been grown up and been told that she's, not good enough, and she's like half buying into it, half not buying into it. And so what ultimately happens is that she has like a really, really crappy day. She goes to get drunk, and then she makes she makes a lot of wishes, a lot of drunken Christmas wishes that she probably would never have made sober. And what happens is, through a little bit of Christmas magic, all those Christmas wishes come true. And like I said, they're drunken wishes that she probably wouldn't have made. So that's where you kind of get the all I didn't want for Christmas, because she got all of her Christmas wishes, but she didn't really want any of them. And so now she's kind of in this space where she has to kind of figure out how she got where she is and where she went wrong, or she's gonna be stuck. And so, anyway, I love this. I loved Gabri in it. I think she was an Oscar nominated actress, if not a winning actress, right? And and she, to me, played this role to the hilt. I felt every emotion for her. Like, I felt in the beginning of the movie, I was very sympathetic. Then she went to getting on my nerves. Then she went through her change, and then, and then she comes out of her change into this different person. And then you end up just loving her at the end of it. It was just a roller coaster ride from beginning to end. It was so good. That's one on my DVR. It's still on my DVR. That's how good it was. I couldn't even delete it. Like, I was trying to find stuff to delete and I couldn't delete it. So,
I haven't seen. That's one of the ones I haven't seen. I need to go watch it.
It is so good. And then Loretta Devine is in this and plays her mother.
I love her.
And so they end up kind of working through some mother-daughter issues, which are it's just so good. So there's the family angle, there's the romance angle. The romance angle is hilarious. I mean, that in and of itself is going to be, and then there's the become a better person, and then there's the whole, drunken Christmas list. And there's that kind of fantasy with the elf and the Santa Claus, and all of that is in here too. So you get like everything you want and don't want in a Christmas movie.
Oh, that sounds so good. I need to watch that for sure. It was on my list, but I just haven't got to it yet.
They put it together so well. I mean, it's just so perfect. It's so perfect. It's one of those movies that I think kind of surprised everybody, because I saw it like through Twitter, like people reacting to it, and they were like, "This is the best movie ever. This is my favorite movie of the season." It's that good.
I might have to watch that tonight.
Hunting it down and looking at it. That's a good movie. All right. So we are going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with our top 6 movies for our out of our top 12 list. So I am excited. Stay with us.